Okay, so the recording has started. Okay, first of all, good evening
Good
and
evening.
yeah, welcome to the core team interview for the GDG on Campus RCCIIT. So first, introduce
Thank
yourself.
you. So my name is Esha Tokedar. I am third year student from RCC who is like a developer, full stack developer. Kind of my introduction, that's it.
Okay, okay. So today Orgoda would have been here, but he's having some technical issues, so he couldn't join. So I'll ask some
Okay, okay.
questions from him from his behalf as well. Okay, so
Okay.
you had filled the form for the Web and Web3 domain. So you have
Right.
over there, I could see that you have said that you like movies. You are thinking to do something experimental with the domain. So how are you thinking that you will be contributing to your domain?
I think for the experimental part, I meant to say I want to integrate something fun for people so that it's not like those regular projects that you do. You can just watch a tutorial, do something that is everybody else is doing. What I used to do, like I still do that as well. Like, suppose a friend's birthday is coming up, or you have a close one, you want to gift something to them, make a website or something. Like, do what you like to do, and that way you can make things fun, make things interesting. So similarly, I feel like integrating other things as well to something that is considered professional. Of course, it's professional, but if you integrate
Okay.
something of your own interest, it adds up.
Okay. Uh, any projects that you have that maybe you can show that you are doing these things? Because as far as I can go through your GitHub as well as through your CV, all those
Yeah,
projects you are having in plans, or maybe you are saying that, okay, let's make something interesting. They speak otherwise.
yeah, of course,
Because,
because the projects that I do have, they are like made private. I don't think like the things that I've made for my friends, I don't think I can show you right now.
okay, because as I could go by CV or your GitHub, it's more or less the similar that you are having all those projects that you
No,
personally
I'm
don't
not.
like. Kind of. It's the thing that, okay, it's same front end, back end website you are having. That's why I asked that question.
No, I didn't mean to like put your personal things on your
Yeah,
GitHub
sure.
or LinkedIn, of course. Like
Sure,
for
sure.
your own encouragement, I feel like you could do something that
Okay,
makes you
so,
learn things.
okay, so you are also part of RCC tags. Okay,
Right.
and over there also you have some work as the web and web3, I guess, same, or over the web lead, I think you are over there.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so how are you thinking that you will be able to manage time in various tech companies like this one also, over there also? How are you thinking that you'll be able to manage the time?
I think scheduling and like communicating with both the community, like, team leads and my friends as well. If I want to adjust something, like I am busy some other day or doing something else, I'm sure they'll cooperate. And, you have to like prioritize which one is like, like comes first. If you have an event coming up sooner, I'll prioritize that. If they have an event coming up sooner, I'll do that. But if I have a personal thing going on, of course, I'll inform beforehand. So that's how it
Yeah.
goes.
Okay. So now let's come to some technical questions. Since you applied over here for the web and web3 as well, can you explain me blockchain in layman terms?
Yeah, I actually did have a question for you as well. Like,
Okay.
why didn't you differentiate between the two domains? Like, why one lead for
Yeah, why
both?
one lead or one domain? I would come to that part at the end of the interview. I definitely answer your question. But let me complete first these questions now.
Okay,
So
okay,
can you
okay.
explain me blockchain in layman terms?
I don't know. I feel like blockchain is not really my forte. I didn't really.
Okay.
I mean, I can, but I
Uh,
don't think I am
then,
capable enough.
okay. Any idea about Solana or Ethereum? Mainly these two questions I have from the blockchain side. That's it.
I haven't worked on any of them. I
Okay,
feel like
okay,
yeah,
okay. So, do you consider yourself a MERN stack developer or a full stack developer?
Merge stack developer because those are the only
Okay,
tech stacks I've worked on.
okay. Any idea about DevOps?
Yeah, I think so. Like not that I call myself a DevOps like engineer, but yeah,
Okay, so have you used Docker, GitHub Actions, anything such like that?
I did. Yeah, like a long time ago.
Okay, so any idea about some differences between GitHub Actions or Docker or maybe Kubernetes, whatever you are comfortable with? Or you think that more or less these are similar?
I think that for me, it's yeah. I don't think I have
It's
much to say.
more or less similar.
Yeah.
Okay, have you worked with APIs?
Yep. Yep.
Okay, can you define me in layman terms about APIs or can you explain me about APIs?
API is like something that facilitates between uh like client and a server. Like it's the middleman between the two, front and back end.
Or in more layman terms, if you are explaining someone for first year, that what's an API? Someone comes you and asks, Didi, API समझ नहीं आ रहा तो कैसे समझाओगे? Okay, you can talk in
So
Hindi, Bengali as well, no issues. In whatever
yeah,
way you are comfortable.
so front end. So they have to kind of understand front end and back end for them to completely get what an API
Okay,
is. But after that, I'm sure it's pretty understandable how the whole thing works.
okay. Uh, so can you have used APIs? So and since you are a non-stack developer, you have developed backend as well, you have developed front end as well. From that point of view, can you tell me the difference between GraphQL and REST APIs? Any idea about GraphQL? In
I
layman terms,
have
I don't want to go to the technicalities. I don't need the technicalities basically.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't used Graph API, but I don't know if I can actually.
Any idea that how fundamentally how they are just different? I'm not asking any code, any nothing. I don't need those for this because it's a just small
Um,
interview, so no need of those in depth something.
yeah, yeah. So I feel like REST APIs like have easier like HTTP requests that we all know about,
Mhm.
easier to work with as a Stack developer. And GraphQL, I don't know exactly.
Okay. Okay. As of GraphQL, as how much understanding I have, GraphQL actually doesn't give you all the info like REST API. What is that? Whenever you call the REST APIs, it gives you all the info that is stored in the database, right? But
Yeah,
whenever in which way the API will be configured, it will give you all the info. But in case of GraphQL, you have the flexibility basically that how much data you want. Maybe suppose you are using, you need only the username and the roll number of a student supposed to show, but you also are
mm,
having the various other IDs, suppose class, section, and all those things. So if you use GraphQL in that case, you can actually basically send a query. If you are able to send a query, you can only get the class student name if you want to. So that's why the
okay,
GraphQL
okay.
sometimes works better. Okay, no
Have
issues.
you used it?
I have used it. I have seen using it. So that's why I
Okay,
have this basic idea. Okay,
understand.
you are doing React.js for your development.
Yeah.
Now Angular is a framework that Google supports kind of. So your opinion. I'm not saying you have to say from one side itself, but your opinion on both the frameworks.
Hmm. React, I feel like it's very beginner friendly. Not just beginner friendly, I feel like it's easier to work on, more resources, and um,
Okay.
widely used in big companies
Mhm.
as well. So
Mhm.
definitely the easier choice, I feel like. But of course, Angular can be better in some ways. I don't think I need it right now.
Okay. Okay. Now sometimes there's a question that usually comes up that someone in the first year or maybe in the second year will definitely come and ask you that I am finding it very hard to balance between doing DSA and doing web, or maybe app someone does. So if
Yeah.
someone comes and asks you that really is DSA more important or only web, doing only web works? So how will you handle that situation? What will you say?
I think from a college point of view, DSA is more important for sure. But I feel like if you don't have any projects, you don't have any other thing that is going on with your technical side of things, you get very limited to the companies that you can apply for, or like you don't get any extra edge. So definitely balance between the two. And also like it's not like DSA and development is what you should do. You can do any other thing as well with DSA, right? So anything that works in your favor. I feel like DSA could be done like one or two problems a day, very manageable, and make sure that you do your development or whatever domain you're working on the weekends whenever you're free, when you have time. Yeah, that's it.
Okay. And yeah, that's end of my questions. And from Olgoda's side, I have just messaged him to he provided me some questions. So let me ask you, what are your strengths and weaknesses as you have observed till now as a person or as a developer, whatever you want to say?
My strengths would be that if I am given a deadline, I meet it usually, and like anything can happen, but I'll definitely do something that, like you won't be missing out on an important thing if you give me some work. Next would probably be I can read the room very easily. Like for example, if my coworkers are finding it hard to do something that I've assigned them, I can sense that they are not exactly having a good time with it, or they don't want to do it or something. So I can assess that and make something work. Weakness, I would probably say that from like my experience with the communities I have been with, no group code and stuff.
Mhm.
Uh, Engaging in groups, being active in groups, definitely. Um, it's not like I'm not available. I feel like checking WhatsApp or like being there all the time is kind of one of my weaknesses. But if somebody needs me one on one, text me or like a meet or something, I can definitely come and do that. So yeah.
Okay. Another question that he gave me is that since you will be you are will be having the position of a web and web3 lead, so definitely you will have some second years under you or maybe first years as well who will be working with you on various stuffs. So suppose you are finding that someone is not doing enough or not giving out the enough output that it's required. And in that case, you might need to also provide him or her a negative feedback. But definitely you are not going that you will be not like that you are going to hurt that person. So how do you think or what will be the processes through which you will talk to that person and get up the things doing?
So I think if I am acting as a mentor, I have the like I won't say authority. Like I feel like I can provide them a constructive criticism, and they should be able to take that positively. I definitely wouldn't um, criticize somebody based on something completely irrelevant. So if they are lacking on something, if they are like not doing whatever I asked them to do or something else, I don't know. So yeah, I guess informing them in a positive way and making them feel like it's good for them and for me mutually, we can figure that out.
Okay. Uh, That's more or less all the questions. And now coming to the part that you are having the question that why Web and Web3 together. So you
Yeah,
have been working with Web. You don't have much idea about Web3 as I had understood. So if I say
yeah,
about why Web and Web3 together, now when you are doing Web, the front end part, that's the HTML, CSS, JavaScript, someone is doing React or someone doing Vue or Angular, it's more or less the similar for the front end part. Mainly the operation changes when it comes to backend. Someone might go for Flux and Django for the Python, integrating ML directly. Someone may
yeah,
go for JavaScript like Node or Bun can be used as a runtime, or someone might go for the Java for the Spring Boot one if someone is doing using Java, implementing microservices and all. Now, when it comes to Web3, Web3 also is the same because it works on the backend. It doesn't work on the front end. For the front end, you will use the same stack in Web3 that you are using
yeah,
Next.js or something, or maybe Gatsby, anything, whatever it might be. Mainly the backend changes because over there, also the backend, if you say the use cases of Web3 are very specific. The use cases are not broad. Whenever I go in most of today's websites or whatever is there, Web3 is just used as a part in the form of wallet or maybe NFT generation or maybe storing some particular information on the blockchain. So if I go and see that I am putting up entire domain on an Web3, considering the current students that we will be catering to, the mainly second years and the primarily the first years or the third years as well. I am not considering the fourth years because they are busy with their placement all. So considering this part, I felt that there was not much need of having a separate domain because in our year as well, there are not much people who either have applied for the Web and Web3. And as per the ratio, I could see from the people who have been there in the second year as well, they have also not applied for the much for the Web and Web3 domain. And since the Web3 has got a close connection with Web2, and you cannot just do anything without the Web2 part in just using the Web3. Because mostly if you see someone is when they are implementing Web3 as well, definitely they are having 100% good knowledge in Web2 because the backend processes are kind of similar over there. So I felt that yeah, there is not much requirement of Web2, much requirement of Web3 as a single domain. Rather than that's why I put it together in a singular domain because I could not, I have also a limitation of keeping the domains. I could not keep 7 or 8 domains as per the policy we have. So since I was keeping 4 to 5 domains, so I included both together because I felt that the number of people that we will cater to, as well as the technologies are very much similar.
okay. So, you have two different domains for like DSA and CP, right?
Yeah, I have 2 different domains.
Yeah. So, why didn't you think of merging them? Don't you feel like whoever becomes the lead of Web and
Actually, CP
Web3?
has got a much more niche. If you see, people doing CP have a
Yeah.
niche. Those who do over there, and actually, I have got a kind of response by as being in the community. I have got a good amount of response that people want to do CP, but not getting that much resources or maybe that much motivation to do that. That's why there was the introduction of the CP domain and DSA, as you also said, as we all know, that from the job point of view or maybe from the college point of view, having a good understanding of any of one of the programming languages, either it may be C, C++, Python, any basic program, because you can just switch to the other one because the concepts are same. And having DSC in either C++ or in Java, not considering Python because most companies don't consider. So having that knowledge is something that comes as a must. If you are doing app, if you are doing web, if you are doing AIML, apart from all this, when it will come from the job point of view, it's aptitude that you are going to do, and then it's come the DSA that they are going to
True,
take.
true.
Even TCS also takes the DSA today. Now CP has got a niche. So trying out to see something doing different, that okay, if I am getting some queries from the CP side, from the second year specifically, that they want to do CP. So let's introduce the domain, because previously also there was that. And from third year, the point was not having a singular Web3 domain, was kind of like that, that there was no single person whose form for the Web and Web3 part was something that, see, if someone is doing Web3, definitely that person will be doing good in Web, have a basic idea of
Yeah,
Web2.
they will be, but I don't think they are actively like making web development
Yes.
projects now. Now that they have shifted to blockchain, don't you feel like it will consume more of their time if they are a lead of both the things,
Yeah, the point is,
simultaneously?
if see, the point is, if there had been enough fill-ups for the domains, it would have been reflected. Now, the fill-ups that I got for the domains, like you have done, you are from Web2. Okay. Other fill-ups that I have got, that you will get to see only more or less from Web2. So there was not something like last year's Bartik that was there. Last year Devupam that were there. They were
Yeah.
purely kind of Web3. They have a good knowledge of Web2. They are in Web3. So having a separate domain where someone can just show their expertise gives a much greater understanding. That's why when I asked you the questions, I asked you the basic stuffs as well from the Web3 part. Because I know that, okay, the basic stuffs is needed, because when you go to the deeper stuffs or the coding, for Solana, you have the Solana cookbook. For Ethereum, you get a hell lot of tutorials as well. So if someone is going in depth, there are other platforms. There are Ryzen, there is HackQuest. These platforms are there who is going to teach you the Web3 part over there. Web2 you can get from YouTube and all that. For the Web3 part, if someone having interest, someone will definitely use the Solana cookbook and get to know Rust. Easy for that
So
person.
just you could have just removed the Web3 domain, I feel like. If you are asking basic questions to somebody and selecting based off of that, they are not capable of being a lead of that thing, right?
No, the point is, whenever we run a community, see, the point being over there is I being the lead or anyone being the domain lead. The first that we check is for the enthusiasm. First, we check that how
Yeah, yeah.
much, if you are having 100% knowledge, but if you don't want to be a part of the community or don't want to help others, basically that person is no use to me. That person
Yeah,
is no
true,
use
true.
to the community. So someone having 100% or 200% knowledge of a particular domain and then not filling up the form, it's actually no use to me. But
Yeah,
it is
no,
also
that's
not
true.
the
That's
case that being in a technological group, I am just debarring the fact that, okay, someone don't need to know the domain. If someone have at least seeing that there is a Web3 written, someone has an interest, that person will at least go and search Web3. It's that motivation or that kickstart that any community or even the GDSC or the GDG on campus tries to provide. Like there will be a session, there will be upcoming sessions in GDG as well or GDG Cloud as well. Do you think that any 30-minute or 40-minute session from them talking about newer technologies help you to learn particular that? I guess no. You have
no,
attended
no, no.
meetups and all. It doesn't
You
help.
can't
But
spoon
what
feed
it
people,
does,
right?
it gives you an overall understanding of the technology. Now, if you want to integrate, suppose you want to integrate Google Maps, you have to go through the documentation of Google Cloud and everything. A 30-minute session about what new features are there in Google Maps will definitely not help you out.
True,
So
true.
that's the point where the domains or where the things that are introduced. So
Okay,
it
okay,
depends kind of.
okay. Noted. Yeah, understood.
Okay, so yeah, thanks a lot for the interview, and
Yeah,
maybe tonight I'll release up the results. Thanks a lot for
okay.
joining.
Thank
Okay,
you. Bye.
bye. Bye.